Tom Hanks finds a broken typewriter in a dumpster behind a theater in 1978, spends his last $40 fixing it, and uses it to write thank you notes to every casting director who rejected him. 123 rejections turned into gratitude, and one of those notes, just one, reaches Steven Spielberg's desk by accident. What happens next doesn't just change Tom's career, it proves that gratitude is the most powerful networking tool in Hollywood, that broken things can become your greatest assets, and that sometimes the trash contains exactly what you need to build a future. This is the story of an Underwood typewriter, $40 that should have bought groceries, 123 thank you notes that nobody asked for, and how being relentlessly kind when you have every reason to be bitter creates opportunities that talent alone never could. New York City, November 1978, Tuesday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. Tom Hanks is walking through the alley behind the Cherry Lane Theater in Greenwich Village. He just finished another audition, community theater production of The Tempest, small role, prosperous servant, non-speaking, just background. Tom auditioned anyway, because you audition for everything, every opportunity, no matter how small, no matter how unlikely. The audition went fine. Not great, not terrible. Fine. The director said, "Thank you," in that neutral tone. That means nothing. Means maybe. Means probably not. Means we'll call you if we don't find someone better. Tom has heard that tone 100 times. Knows what it means. Knows the call isn't coming. Tom is 22 years old, been in New York for 8 months, moved from California, from college, Chabot College, then Sacramento State, studied theater, thought he was good. Teachers said he had something, natural timing, likability, presence. They said New York or LA, go where the work is, go prove yourself. Tom chose New York, theater city, real acting, not Hollywood, not commercials. Theater, Shakespeare, serious work, came with $800 saved from summer jobs and restaurant shifts, thought it would last 3 months. Maybe 4, enough time to book something, get established, start building. 8 months later, Tom has $73 to his name. The $800 evaporated. Renter, food, subway fare, headshots, the constant bleed of existing in the most expensive city in America while making almost nothing. Tom works nights at a bar, serving drinks, making $2.10 an hour plus tips. The tips keep him alive, barely. Walking through the alley, Tom is doing math. $73, rent due in 5 days, $280. He's short $207. The landlord won't wait, already waited twice, said this is the last time, pay or leave. Tom doesn't know where he'll find $207 in 5 days, doesn't know what happens if he can't. Then Tom sees it, in the dumpster behind the theater, green metal dumpster, overflowing. Theater throws everything away, old sets, broken props, costumes that don't fit anymore, the debris of productions nobody remembers, sticking out from under a torn curtain. A typewriter. Tom stops, looks closer. It's old, really old. Black metal, round keys, Underwood brand, the kind from the 1940s, the kind you see in old movies, journalists and writers hunched over in smoky rooms, clacking away, creating. Tom pulls it out, heavy, 15 pounds maybe. The carriage is stuck. The keys don't move. The ribbon is dried out and cracked, broken, completely broken. Someone threw it away because it doesn't work anymore, because fixing it would cost more than buying new, because it's obsolete, useless, trash. But Tom holds it, feels the weight, feels the history. This typewriter has a story, has written thousands of pages, maybe millions of words, letters, scripts, novels, stories. Now it's in a dumpster, discarded, forgotten, done. Tom should put it back, should walk away. He doesn't need a broken typewriter, needs money, needs work, needs to solve the rent problem. A broken typewriter solves nothing, makes everything harder, just more weight to carry, more junk in an already too small apartment. But Tom doesn't put it back. Can't explain why, just feels something, connection maybe. This typewriter is broken, Tom is broken, both discarded, both obsolete, in a city that only values what's new and shiny and working perfectly, both trying to survive in a world that's already moved on. Tom carries the typewriter home, 14 blocks, arms burning, back aching. People stare. Who carries a typewriter through Manhattan? Who pulls trash from dumpsters? Tom doesn't care, just carries it, gets it home, sets it on the table in his studio apartment. Small table, wobbly, but it holds. Tom sits, looks at the typewriter, runs his fingers over the keys. They don't press. Stuck, jammed, years of dust and neglect. But underneath the damage, Tom can see the craft, the engineering, the beauty. This was made to last, made to work, made to create. Tom thinks about fixing it, but fixing costs money. Money he doesn't have. Money he needs for rent, for food, for survival. Fixing a broken typewriter is the opposite of practical, is the definition of foolish, is exactly the kind of decision that keeps people broke. But Tom makes the decision anyway, because sometimes you have to invest in broken things. Sometimes you have to bet on what everyone else threw away. Sometimes the impractical choice is the only choice that matters. The next morning, Tom finds a repair shop, small place in the East Village. Old man behind the counter, Gregor, Polish, 70 years old. Been fixing typewriters since 1945, seen everything, fixed everything. Tom puts the Underwood on the counter, says, "Can you fix this?" Gregor picks it up, examines it, opens the carriage, tests the keys, looks at the ribbon mechanism. Quiet, methodical, 30 years of expertise in every movement. Gregor says, "Where did you find this?" Tom says, "Dumpster." Gregor nods, not surprised. People throw these away now. Electric typewriters, word processors. Nobody wants manual anymore. Nobody wants to work for it. Push a key. Letter appears. Easy, convenient, but no soul, no connection. This, he taps the Underwood. This has soul. This makes you work, makes you think. Every letter requires effort. Every word matters, because fixing a mistake is hard. So you don't make mistakes. You think first, then type. That's writing, real writing. Tom says, "Can you fix it?" Gregor says, "Yes, $40. New ribbon, clean the mechanisms, oil the carriage, will work, like 1947, maybe better." Tom's stomach drops. $40, more than half of what he has, leaves him $33 for 5 days, for rent he can't pay, for food he can't buy, for a future he can't see. Tom should say no, should say too expensive, thank you anyway, should walk away, should use the $40 for something practical, something necessary, something that isn't a broken typewriter from a dumpster. Tom says, "Okay, fix it." Gregor says, "Come back Friday. We'll be ready." Tom leaves. $40 poorer. Rent still due. Problem still unsolved. But something feels right. feels aligned, feels like the broken typewriter and the broke actor are supposed to meet, supposed to help each other, supposed to create something together. Friday, Tom picks up the typewriter. Gregor hands it over, clean, oiled, ribbon fresh, keys smooth, carriage gliding, beautiful. Gregor says, "Test it." Tom rolls in a piece of scrap paper, types. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Every letter, perfect. The keys press with resistance, satisfying resistance. The mechanical click of metal on paper, the ding when the carriage reaches the end, the physicality of writing, not typing, writing. Tom says, "It's perfect." Gregor says, "What will you write?" Tom doesn't know yet, just says, "Thank you." Gregor says, "Typewriter is tool. What you write is up to you. Make it matter. This machine has maybe 10 more years, maybe 20, if you care for it. Don't waste them." Tom carries the typewriter home, sets it on the table, sits, looks at it. Now what? What does he write? What's worth the $40 he just spent? Worth the sacrifice? Worth the commitment? Tom thinks about the auditions, the rejections, the 100 times he's heard "thank you" in that tone, the 100 times he's left a room, knowing he didn't book it, knowing someone else did, knowing he's still broke, still unknown, still fighting for the smallest opportunities. Most actors get bitter, get angry, get resentful, blame the casting directors, blame the system, blame everyone except themselves. Tom understands that impulse, feels it sometimes. The unfairness, the randomness, the cruelty of an industry that demands everything and gives back almost nothing. But Tom thinks about his mother, about how she raised him, about the values she taught, gratitude, kindness, politeness, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because anyone can be kind when things are going well. Real character is being kind when things are falling apart. Tom makes a decision, a crazy decision, an impractical decision, exactly the kind of decision that matches buying a broken typewriter with his last $40. He's going to write thank you notes to every casting director who rejected him, every single one, not asking for another chance, not campaigning, not reminding them he exists. Just thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity, even though I didn't book it. Just gratitude, pure, simple, honest. Tom starts, pulls out his audition log, the notebook where he tracks every audition, date, role, production, casting director name, outcome, 8 months of auditions, 123 entries, 123 rejections. Tom rolls paper into the Underwood, types the first note. "Dear Miss Richardson, thank you for seeing me last month for the role in our town. I know I wasn't right for the part, but I appreciate the opportunity to audition. I wish you the best with the production. Sincerely, Tom Hanks." Simple, professional, genuine, no agenda, no ask, just acknowledgement, just respect. Tom types the second note, then the third, then the 10th, then the 20th. The rhythm builds, the mechanical clicking, the ding of the carriage return, the physical act of gratitude, each note taking effort, taking thought, taking care, because the typewriter doesn't let you rush, doesn't let you be sloppy. Every letter requires intention. Tom types for 3 days. Morning, afternoon, night, between bar shifts, between survival, 123 notes, 123 expressions of gratitude for opportunities that went nowhere, for auditions that failed, for chances that didn't work out. Some casting directors he remembers clearly. Some he barely remembers. Some he only met for 30 seconds. Doesn't matter. All of them get the same thing. A thank you note, typed on a 1947 Underwood typewriter, pulled from a dumpster, fixed with the last $40, turned into something meaningful. Tom addresses the envelopes, handwrites the addresses, stamps them, 46 cents each, $56.58 in postage, money he doesn't have, borrows it, from a roommate, from a friend, from anyone, promises to pay back, doesn't know how, just promises. Tom mauls them, all 123, drops them in the mailbox, on the corner, watches them disappear, into the postal system, into the world, into the void, probably. Because who responds to thank you notes from rejected actors? Nobody. That's who. Tom doesn't expect responses, doesn't expect anything, just wanted to say thank you, just wanted to be the kind of person who acknowledges kindness, even when kindness doesn't lead anywhere, even when gratitude seems pointless. 3 weeks pass, nothing, no responses, no calls, no auditions. Exactly what Tom expected. The thank you notes disappear into the void, forgotten, ignored, irrelevant. But Tom doesn't regret it. Doesn't regret the $40 on the typewriter. Doesn't regret the $56 on stamps. Doesn't regret the 3 days of typing, because something shifted inside him. The bitterness that was building, the resentment, the anger at the industry, at the rejections, at the unfairness. It's gone, or at least quieter, because saying thank you, even when you don't want to, even when it feels undeserved, even when it seems pointless, changes you, changes how you see the world, changes how you move through it, makes you softer, kinder, more human. Then something happens. 4 weeks after mailing the notes, Tom gets a call. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Tom Hanks? Yes. This is Kathleen Kennedy. I'm an assistant to Steven Spielberg. I found a thank you note on my desk, addressed to a casting director named Janet Morrison. Do you know Janet? Tom thinks, scrolls through memory. Janet Morrison. Yes. Auditioned 6 months ago. Supporting role in an indie film. Tom didn't book it. Barely remembers the audition. Tom says, yes, I auditioned for her. Didn't get the part. Kathleen says, well, your note ended up on my desk. I don't know how. Maybe it was misfiled. Maybe someone put it in the wrong pile. But I found it, and I read it, and I showed it to Steven. Because who writes thank you notes to casting directors for rejections? Steven wants to meet you. Tom's brain stops. Rewind. Steven Spielberg, the Steven Spielberg, director of Jaws, Close Encounters, the biggest director in Hollywood, wants to meet him because of a thank you note that went to the wrong person by accident. Tom says, I'm sorry. What? Kathleen laughs. I know it's strange, but Steven was touched. He said anyone who writes thank you notes for rejection is someone worth knowing. Can you come to his office? Next week? Tuesday? Tom says, yes. Absolutely. Yes. Kathleen gives the address, the time, hangs up. Tom sits, holding the phone, trying to process. This isn't real. Can't be real. Spielberg wants to meet him because a thank you note accidentally ended up on his assistant's desk, because Tom said thank you when he had every reason to be bitter. The meeting happens. Tuesday, 2 p.m. Amblin Entertainment office, Universal Studios lot. Tom shows up 30 minutes early, wearing his only suit, thrift store. Doesn't fit perfectly, but clean, pressed, professional. Kathleen greets him, warm, kind, young, maybe 25. She's the one who found the note, the one who showed Spielberg, the one who made this happen. She leads Tom to Spielberg's office, knocks, opens. Tom Hanks is here. Steven Spielberg stands, beard, jeans, casual. Looks younger than Tom expected, 32. Already a legend, already changed cinema, already untouchable. Steven extends his hand. Tom, thanks for coming. Sit. Tom sits, nervous, hands shaking, trying to hide it. Steven says, I read your note, the one Kathleen found. I've been thinking about it all week. Who does that? Who writes thank you notes when they don't get the job? Tom says, my mother taught me. She said, gratitude costs nothing, and people remember kindness. Steven nods. Smart woman. She's right. I've been in this industry 20 years. I've worked with hundreds of actors, maybe thousands, and I can count on one hand the number who said thank you when they didn't book the job. You know what that tells me? That tells me character. That tells me you understand something most people don't. That this isn't about you. It's about the work. It's about the collaboration. It's about respecting people's time, even when it doesn't benefit you. Steven continues. I don't have a role for you right now, but I'm keeping your note, and when I do have something that fits, you're getting the call, because I want to work with people who have character, talent, I can find anywhere. Character is rare. Tom says, thank you. That means everything. Steven says, one question. How many of these did you write? How many thank you notes? Tom says, 123. Every casting director who saw me in the last 8 months. Steven's eyes widen. 123. You wrote 123 thank you notes to people who rejected you. Tom says, yes. Steven says, that's not normal. That's extraordinary. That's the kind of dedication that builds careers, not the thank you notes themselves. The mindset behind them, the refusal to be bitter, the choice to be grateful, even when gratitude seems pointless. That's special. They talk for an hour about acting, about theater, about New York, about struggling, about the gap between talent and opportunity, about how most people give up right before the break comes, about persistence, about character, about kindness as strategy, not manipulation, just genuine kindness, creating opportunities that talent alone never could. Steven doesn't offer Tom a role, not that day, but he keeps the note, pins it to his bulletin board, looks at it sometimes when he's casting, reminds himself character matters, kindness matters, gratitude matters. 2 years pass. 1980. Steven is casting 1941, a comedy, World War II, big ensemble, needs actors who can handle comedy and chaos, needs someone likable, someone audiences trust, someone with natural timing and presence. Steven remembers Tom, the thank you note, the conversation, calls Kathleen, find Tom Hanks, the guy who wrote all those thank you notes, see if he's available. Tom is in New York, still struggling, still bartending, still auditioning, still broke, but still writing thank you notes, still being grateful, still being kind, when he has every reason to be bitter. The call comes. Steven Spielberg wants you for a role in 1941. Small role, a few scenes, but a Spielberg film, real budget, real exposure, real opportunity. Tom takes it, does the work, impresses Steven, impresses the cast, impresses everyone. The role leads to more roles. Bosom Buddies TV show, Splash, with Ron Howard. Big with Penny Marshall. Building. Momentum. Career. Not overnight. Gradual. Earned. One role leading to the next. One person remembering Tom, recommending Tom, calling Tom. And it all traces back to the typewriter in the dumpster, to the $40, to the 123 thank you notes, to the one note that accidentally reached Spielberg's desk, to the choice to be grateful when bitterness made more sense. Tom keeps the typewriter for 40 years, doesn't use it much. After the thank you notes, switches to computers, to modern technology, to convenience, but the Underwood stays on a shelf in his office, under glass, protected, preserved. Next to it, a small plaque, the typewriter that taught me gratitude, found in a dumpster, 1978, fixed for $40. I didn't have, used to write 123 thank you notes to people who rejected me. One note reached Steven Spielberg, changed everything. Lesson: broken things can build futures. Gratitude creates opportunities. Kindness compounds. Tom is doing press. An interview. Journalist asks about his career, about how he made it, about the big break, about the turning point. Tom tells the story. The dumpster, the typewriter, the $40, the thank you notes, the accidental connection to Spielberg. The journalist is stunned. You spent your last $40 on a broken typewriter. Tom says, yes, and used it to write thank you notes to people who rejected you. Tom says, yes, that's insane. Tom says, maybe, or maybe it's the sanest thing I ever did, because that typewriter taught me something, taught me that broken things have value, that what everyone else throws away might be exactly what you need, that investing in gratitude, even when it seems pointless, even when you're broke, even when you have every reason to be bitter, creates opportunities that talent alone never could. Tom continues, the $40 should have bought groceries, should have bought something practical, something necessary, but I bought a broken typewriter instead, fixed it, used it to say thank you, and one of those thank yous accidentally reached Steven Spielberg, and that accident changed my career, changed my life. That's not luck. That's what happens when you choose gratitude over bitterness, when you invest in broken things, when you make the impractical choice that everyone else thinks is foolish. The journalist asks, do you still have it? The typewriter? Tom says, of course. It's in my office. I look at it every day, reminds me where I came from, reminds me that the trash sometimes contains treasure, reminds me to say thank you, always, even when it seems pointless, especially when it seems pointless. The journalist asks, what happened to the note, the one Spielberg received? Tom says, Steven still has it. It's framed in his office. He showed it to me once, said it reminds him to work with people of character, not just talent. Character, because character is what lasts. Talent fades, careers end, but character, who you are when nobody's watching, when you have nothing, when gratitude seems foolish, that's permanent. That's what matters. The Underwood typewriter sits in Tom's office, under glass, a museum piece now, worth thousands. Not because it's rare, because it's his, because it represents a moment, a choice, an investment in broken things, a commitment to gratitude, a refusal to be bitter, and next to it framed, a photocopy of one of the original thank you notes, the 123rd, the last one Tom wrote, to a casting director he doesn't remember. For an audition he didn't book, for an opportunity that went nowhere. Except, it didn't go nowhere. It went everywhere, because one of those notes, just one, accidentally reached the right person, and that accident created a 40-year career, created an Oscar winner, created the most beloved actor in Hollywood. All because Tom found a broken typewriter in a dumpster and spent his last $40 fixing it. All because he wrote thank you notes when bitterness made more sense. All because he chose gratitude, chose kindness, chose character. The typewriter is broken again now. Hasn't worked in years. Could be fixed. Tom won't fix it. Leaves it broken, because broken is how he found it. Broken is what made it valuable. Broken is the lesson. Broken things can build futures if you're willing to invest, if you're willing to fix them, if you're willing to use them for gratitude instead of bitterness. Tom Hanks found a typewriter in a dumpster in 1978, spent his last $40 fixing it, used it to write 123 thank you notes, and one of those notes, by accident, by chance, by providence, reached Steven Spielberg. That's not a career break. That's a character break. That's what happens when you're kind, when you have every reason to be bitter, when you invest in broken things, when you say thank you to people who rejected you. $40, one typewriter, 123 notes, one accident, 40 years of career, all built on gratitude. The trash sometimes contains exactly what you need. You just have to be willing to see it, willing to fix it, willing to use it for kindness. Tom Hanks did, and became exactly what Spielberg said, extraordinary, not because of talent, because of character. The typewriter proved it. The thank you notes proved it. The 40-year career confirmed it. Gratitude isn't pointless. It's the point.